right. Good evening, everybody. Let's do a brief visual and sound check. How is everybody? Sounds good. Sounds good. Looks good. All right. Well, let's get started. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Slow Markets. I'm Coach Dakota, Coach DBA. As always, in the YouTube chat, there is our Topstep risk disclosure. Everything that we go over tonight is for educational purposes only. Well, with that being said, how was your trading day? Start of the week, Monday, red or green? It was an interesting day, as every day tends to be in the market. If there's a hiccup, I'm yellowing my trades. Green, good. Passed the 150K account today. Congratulations. Green, red. All profits were taken back. 6 green. Lots of losses turned green. So it's a mix. It looks like it's a mix. Today was very interesting. We didn't get a lot of price action, and let's just get through it. Let's get to it. As always, we'll do our regular rapid fire. Talk about the NASDAQ, crude oil, Nikkei, and then gold. Maybe we'll take a peek at Bitcoin, which I'm still playing around with. So here's the daily chart. I always start on a higher time frame, and the highest time frame that I use is a daily, obviously, right here, daily chart. And we've had 5 red days in a row. This is a new week. We just had a nice, green day, I guess. Bullish candle, green day. And this candle and this bounce came at a nice level of support and resistance. We measured it. We talked about it. We were looking at this level as a possible level that buyers can come in and step. It's a zone, right? There's no exact number where this is an exact number. The market's going to bounce off that. It's not how markets work. There are zones, right? It can be a plus or minus kind of day where we can bounce off of a bigger zone on these higher time frames. So the higher the time frame, the bigger the zone. So I'm looking at this on the daily, and you could see how big this zone is. And if we start to zoom in, well, after that nice sell-off, we got down to this level of, this is just consolidation, chop, support and resistance. It was acting as major resistance backed through most of October, right? So most of October, this was a resistance zone. And now we've sold off right back down after this huge, rally. Then we've sold down. We're back in this zone. So it's going to be interesting to see, are we going to consolidate? Are we going to chop around like we were in? Or is this resistance now going to become support? So that's the thing that I'm going to be watching now that we got there. It's nice to see that we found some buyers, and we just wasn't selling off, and how dramatic it was back at the beginning of August. Now, anything can happen. We can still, have a run down to 20,100. We do have NVIDIA earnings on Wednesday, so there's probably a lot of people just waiting to see what's going to happen with these NVIDIA earnings. And so of course, I'm one of them. We are going to trade what's in front of us. We're going to see, how price is reacting, and we're going to react off that ourselves. So another point is, I made this today during fast markets with, Andre, Eddie, Hogan, the team, where it's not a lot of news this week outside of the NVIDIA earnings. And typically when you don't have a lot of dramatic news and it's kind of a quiet day, the markets can tend to drift up and to the right. And I think we've seen a little bit of that today, where if we zoom into an hourly chart, and there's the nice big sell-off, and now we're starting to get some better market structure where we've had a higher low. And today we've also had a higher high. So this has all happened in the last 24 hours, a higher low, a higher high. And there's a lot of consolidation. I mean, a lot of indecision in the market right here around these 630s, 620s. And yeah, we're right in the middle. I kind of don't want to even think about longs or shorts in this, where when we are in the middle of this massive rally, we sold off, we got in the middle, we failed to have a continuation during power hour, and maybe we get a sell-off right back it down into that. However, I don't know. This is an interesting market. It really is. And then Rip's in the chat, excited. Fast markets, me and him, we're going to tear it up. Starting with tonight, right? So Rips, if you guys miss it, every Tuesday is probably one of my favorite days, just because I get to get on fast markets with him, and I just get to sit back and listen to him call out the market, and it's always a blast. One day we'll get him onto slow markets, and I'll join early in the morning with him one of these days. We got to set that up, Rips. I need to find out when. We need to figure that out internally to see if we can make that happen. But I'm planning for tonight and tomorrow to be more range bound. I don't see anything dramatic happen unless there's a crazy headline or a news event that does change things. You could see there's not a lot. There's not a lot going on. There's some CPI in the Eurozone, but in terms of the United States, not much. And so I could definitely just see this market staying range bound. Maybe we follow a channel. That's possible, where we just get into a channel and we're just kind of range bound, slowly drifting up and to the right, like we were talking about in fast markets, where when there's no news, there's not a lot of craziness happening in the market. Markets tend to usually just drift up and to the right because, it's the NASDAQ, it's the equities. They typically have a natural bid to them. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we do get a little bit of a pullback tonight, maybe during the London session, where we could come and either make a higher low, or maybe what we're seeing is the higher low and we just look to push up to the upper end of this channel. I don't know. I'm playing as a range bound day, just like I did during the London session. And, tonight, after we finished going through the rapid fire, let's review, because I know I asked this yesterday. You guys wanted me to review my trades from the fast markets, so I'll do the same thing. Tonight, I'll review my trade from the fast market. I'll go over what I was looking at. I'll go over why I was looking at it, and I'll just walk you through that process again, because I got a lot of positive feedback from that. Rips, let's make it happen. Yes, we will. We have to. It's going into winter. There's going to be a lot of crazy volatility. So I don't mind waking up early. I don't. I've started to wake up early. I've been trying to train myself to wake up early and fix my sleep schedule. That's for sure. Now let's move on to a 5-minute. I'm going to jump into a 5-minute chart here in the NASDAQ. I'm not seeing much else here in the NASDAQ. No, we're just kind of in the middle, right? You can see ever since this really was the only move today. I mean, the only decent sized move was this nice rally off of, 20 minutes into the open. We rallied all the way up to 720 and sold right back down into the overnight session highs, and then we just stayed consolidating. We consolidated the rest of the day. It wasn't a fun day to trade if you're a trend trader. It was really great for traders like Dobie, right? Dobie is an amazing range-bound trader, and this is a range-bound market. And with no news, that's kind of expected, right? Where we try to identify the range, and then you trade it. And the way you trade a range is pretty simple and pretty straightforward. Is you buy the lows and you sell the highs. And I know that sounds super simple, but that's kind of all it is you wait for the market to make a move, and then it makes a move into the top of the range, and then you find a way to find a reversal, right? Whether it's a 3-bar reversal, whether it's, just getting in at the highs and having your stop loss already set, and vice versa. If we start to sell off, it would be buying the dips. And so it's easier said than done. Let's just say that, because today I was kind of playing that as well. So during the New York session, you guys seen I was playing it. I'll go over that later today. But until then, let's move on. Let's take a look at crude oil. Crude oil. I mean, let me look at the hourly chart first. Rollover's finished. So, oh man, I need a drink of water. I'm still not 100% used to talking for so long. I need me a co-star or a trading buddy to join me. I have Jay on Wednesday. Nick, shout out to him. He just had his baby, or him and his wife had that baby, and so I need to get me some more guests to take up some of the chat and some of the talk time. And it's always fun to bounce back and forth between that. Maybe I could work with the team to see if we could have a guest on. I don't know. I see traders in the chat. I don't know exactly how that process will work. I'm going to talk. I'm going to find out. But yeah, maybe we, on top of rips, but we'll also get maybe some guests. You'll be Huckleberry. It's like it's close to where you're going to bed though, Rips. Like you're preparing because you wake up very, very early in the morning. But yeah, we'll have to do a couple sessions as well. Gabe, yeah, maybe Gabe. Gabe would be a good one. Richard. Well, we have to get traders, legitimate traders. Gabe would be a great one. Gabe's great, right? I know he went through that whole combine thing, like practicing passing in combine, getting an XFA, but Gabe's willing to show his executions on the chart, right? And not afraid of it. Bring a guest who could explain. Yeah, I need to have me a guest that their sole job is to explain what a 3-bar reversal is. And they'll take over half the class if that's all they do is just come on screen and explain what a 3-bar reversal is. So anyway, here's crude oil. And we finally finished with the rollover, right? Rollover was last week. This is the first week with this is the first week that there's not a rollover, first few days, and we are pushing up. We've broke above 69. We're holding above 69, and you can see we came down. We tested this 67, rallied right back up, and tonight, just looking at tonight, we had a little bit of a sell-off, and now we're right back and pushing up. The question is, are we going to break through these 69.30s, 69.40s and have another leg higher? The next level I could see us getting to is either going to be these 70.40s, maybe the upper 69, 69.90s. That's not too big of a move. But I could see it happening because it looks like we failed to have a push lower. I would like to see better market structure, to be honest. I'd like to see something where we, sell off. Maybe we test, this was support. We broke below it. We broke above it. So I would really like for crude oil to show more market structure, just like we were talking about on the NASDAQ, where if we do sell off, we find the levels of support, and then we look for that continuation to the long side. So that would be, better risk reward, better trade location. However, maybe we just miss it, or maybe at least I just miss it, and we just rally straight up. Maybe we're looking for, 70.40 or 69.90. But that's all I'm seeing. To the downside, sure, you can make an argument that this can be a cheap trade. Maybe we're looking for a reversal here. Maybe we're going to have a nice bounce up, run for liquidity, and then reverse back down to there. And so as I'm waiting for the market to return or at least find an area of support, maybe that would be a decent trade for traders who are wanting to short in terms of a decent risk reward and doing that. So chat is so active. I'm sorry I can't get to all of your questions, but like I said, there will always be. Let's go through. There's always going to be time to get to some questions. If you guys ask a question, and I don't get to it, just understand that I will answer it. Eventually, we have an amazing moderator. Andrew's in the chat, so he'll be able to send me some of the questions that I do miss. If I don't get to it, just copy and paste it. Don't spam it in the chat. Okay, moving on. Let's take a look at Nikkei. Nikkei looking pretty bearish to me, to be honest. I'm looking at this. This is Nikkei. It's the Japanese market. And you can see we've had just a major sell-off, right? We broke through even, what was this? This was on the 15th. We broke through that. We sold off all the way down to 37,800. We rallied up, and this is one of the very basic ones, right? This was support. You can see 1, 2, 3 times this acted as support, and even we could sit here and count all the times this was support. Go through and count it to say, oh man, look how how often this became support. And then we come down and say, okay, now it's becoming resistance. We tested it once. We tested it twice. Looks like we tested again for a third time tonight. And so the next question is, are we going to rotate back down to 38,200, maybe back down to these lows and test this? I'm not sure. Maybe if we want to compare this chart, which I know a lot of traders do, to the NASDAQ, right? A rally, kind of a flagging pattern, a rally, and then a bit of a flagging pattern, and then we failed to rally again, and we're kind of just consolidating here as well, and we comparing that to the NASDAQ, right? So the NASDAQ kind of similar, a little similar, right? I mean, different but similar in terms of rally, pullback, rally, pullback. We didn't really have that higher push here in the NASDAQ, and so we take a look at the Nikkei, and I'm not really seeing too much that would want me to take a trade. I don't even want. Do I want to short this? Not really. Maybe if I'm looking at this on the 5-minute, I'm going to take a look at the 100 tick. Maybe there's something to this pattern, right? We might be forming this pattern. This is a flagging pattern. I see this happen quite often, where maybe we start to form a flagging pattern, going to consolidate in here before we break below or break above, but obviously the sentiment is down. It's down and to the right. Maybe this is going to hold as resistance and we push lower. There might be a buying opportunity here. I'm looking at this. I have my live account up and ready to go. And so maybe there is a buying opportunity here. You know what? I like it. I don't like it enough for my live account, but I like it enough for this test. I like it enough for this test account. Let's take a look here. This is a test account, and I'm going to just jump in. Let's see if I could get into a trade. I like it enough just to test it. Keyboard. You can hear my keyboard. Is it really sensitive? Yeah, I don't know. I have a pretty nice keyboard, to be honest. Base on base. Yeah, this is something I'm testing out. So anyway, let's keep an eye on this. I'm gonna go ahead and mark. What is it? 365. 365 is what I got in. 365. So there we go. That's my entry. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about gold. Gold has been a good conversation. We'll talk about gold and we'll talk about the Bitcoin, right? So, do you guys remember last night? Sunday night, what we were watching on gold? We seen this really nice rally on gold last night, and yeah, it was one of those where we said, man, didn't this trade look too obvious, right? Where we had this beautiful breakout trade, like, well, maybe we could wait for a pullback. Are we going to get a pullback all the way down here? Maybe not. But we did get a decent pullback, consolidated, and then guess what? Same thing. This has been a simple market to trade, right? Break through, consolidate, look, we test once, another breakout, we're consolidating, and I wonder, are we going to, break out again and rally up? I mean, I do see two decent levels. Like, these are major resistance here in gold. So I wouldn't be surprised, which it looks like we're starting to see some resistance here in gold as well, if we have more of this, right? Where maybe we have a decent pullback or a sell-off on this resistance. And if we look at the hourly chart, I'm sure we could see it a lot cleaner. And this is, if you guys seen on fast markets, we got in short. I say we as in Hogue got in short when we did make a run up into this resistance. I don't know the price we got in short, and I don't know what he closed it out, but there was a bit of there's a bit of profit on that trade. So I'm curious if it's going to happen again. It looks like we just ran over the past hour. It looks like we did run up into the 2622s. And so is this going to become resistance again? Or are we going to break through this and run up to maybe test these 2630s? And then if not, the next level might be like 2656 in these 50s. But this isn't looking like too bad of a short, to be honest. It really is not. I wouldn't mind taking a short in this zone. I mean, if you're going to short, you want to short at a decent level of resistance. But it's kind of hard because we already hesitated right here. And very much like we had a pullback and then we had a breakout and a continuation, this could be a pullback and we might see that breakout. This market is starting to get strong. So maybe being patient, maybe seeing if that we can get a 3-bar reversal. On the hourly chart, maybe we could zoom into a 5-minute chart and find some type of reversal pattern in this zone, right? Because we're in this zone now. And so I wonder what that would look like. Maybe there was an opportunity earlier where we have this nice 3-bar reversal to, yeah, maybe we could have caught a piece of that. I'm not sure. It'd be interesting. We do see a spike in volatility right around 8 p.m. Central. So that's in about 8 minutes. Now, we'll get back to it. We'll always go back through all this. Bitcoin. All right. What's our thoughts on Bitcoin? I've completely struggled to trade it. I'm not used to it. And still, right? We're making higher lows, and equal maybe higher highs, because this is technically higher highs. So would it make sense to buy it near these lows? I don't know. Who in here trades Bitcoin? Mr. Battle, day 5 of asking, do you play video games? I've never seen you ask that before, or it got past me. The answer is yeah, of course. Yes. Not addicted to it. But I just buy and hold. You just buy and hold Bitcoin? I mean, that's the strategy, right? And it's the same with people who buy and hold gold. But there's some volatility here. We've been trying it out. We've been testing it. I'm not sure. I do by let's go. Gold is annoying. Yes, sir. What do you? Okay, come on. Let's keep this to trading and focus on trading. Futures is not a video game. It's not. Well, I'm going to be bouncing back and forth these different markets. Let's take a look. Is this Nikkei? Looky there. That's all I'm wanting. Not going to get greedy. I should have just taken this one in my live account. Yeah. Let's see if we'll get a fill. There we go. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close that one down. That's all I was really needing on this account. 200 bucks. That's all it was on the Nikkei. I think it could still run. We'll go back and look at this on the one trade I do take. I don't take it on my live. Yeah, this is actually turning out to be a decent trade. I'm liking it more and more. I do think we could maybe, can we come see these 38,500s? Maybe come up and test the upper end of this. Come back up and see if there's resistance here at these 38,500s. Maybe that's it. Let's go back here. What's my game? Okay, that's what you guys are obsessed on. I will say the game of choice is chess. My game of choice is chess. Now, let's get to some questions. We'll continue to bounce back and forth through some of these markets. I'm going to keep the Nikkei open on the right-hand side. And then I like to do 2 charts lately. I've been doing this. And then we will see. Maybe we keep the NASDAQ. Maybe we keep the NASDAQ over here on the right-hand side. We could watch the NASDAQ, see how that's moving. It looks like over the past 10 minutes, we've bounced up at least 15, 17 points. And then we'll take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, since everyone's been talking about it, and I've been looking to see if it is a buy the dip opportunity. Maybe we get a push back up to 92,600s, and I wouldn't be too surprised on that. So let's look at NASDAQ. It's over here on the right. NASDAQ is pushing up, and I'm pretty sure Nikkei is doing the same. Yeah, Nikkei's just pushing up as well. And these markets are going up tonight, everyone. I caught that one trade. So let's get to some of these questions. Yeah, life is a game of chess, right? Markets. Markets is one of the hardest games there is. It's one of the easiest games to know in terms of you just click buy and you click sell, but one of the hardest games to just stay consistent at. So 50K versus 150K account for a beginner. So I'm going to say this. If you are brand new and if you are a beginner, or even if you're new to prop firms, I will 100% recommend the smallest account. 50K. It's small. It's simple. You can kind of get your feet wet. It doesn't cost a lot. You don't have to worry about risking a lot, right? It's very low cost to practice, to start a combine, and then if you get funded, that's great. That you should be able to build the confidence, and then once you get that confidence, then maybe you could bump it up, right? And trade micros. If you're new, all you need is just one micro to practice and get comfortable. Dakota, do you copy trade all your XFAs? I am done copy trading. I do not copy trade anymore. I'm focusing on my live account. I showed you the one that I'm testing out. That's one account, no copy trading, and it's been focused 100% on my single live account. No more XFAs for me, just this one live. Aren't all the accounts the same once you get them to live? I'm not sure what you mean by that one. Okay, here's an interesting question. When you trade NQ, do you go off just the NASDAQ chart instead of marking up two different charts? If I'm trading the NQ or the micro NQ. So to me, the NASDAQ and the micro NASDAQ are essentially the same. I follow the NASDAQ more. NASDAQ is what I focus on. So everything that's on the NASDAQ, to me, I believe that the micro NASDAQ is the same. So the support and resistance on the NASDAQ, same as the micros. Yeah, you get one live account. Yep, one live account. What's the average time it takes a beginner to get funded? Jason, I don't know the average. I don't have access to internals. I am a partner here, a trading coach, and I get on TopstepTV, I trade, and I answer questions, and I try and help traders. But through my experience, Jason, it varies dramatically from person to person. So it's very hard to say an average. If I had to guess, it depends on what you define as fun. Are you looking at just passing a combine? Because I would say, to be honest, maybe 3 to 6 months. Now that's a big spread, right? Where it could take you 3 months, it could take you 6 months. I will tell you this though, because I know that this is a fact based off of all of my trading experience and working with so many traders. The longer you take to get funded, the better you are once you get funded. Does that make sense? So if we take two examples, and this is very important. If you take two examples, okay, you take a trader who passes in 1 week. They start an account and they pass and they get funded in 1 week. Then you compare that to a trader who takes 6 months and they pass their first account in 6 months. Then I would take that trader who took 6 months to get funded 10 times out of 10, because that means they are focused on the process. They've been through ups and downs. They have 6 months of experience. They, are probably sizing correctly. And then you compare that to a trader who passed in 1 week. Well, in order to pass in 1 week, you're probably trading a bigger size than you probably should, or maybe you happen to, get lucky on a couple great running trades. So think about that for a moment, and think about what your overall goal is as a trader, right? Do you just want to pass real quick, try and make some quick and easy money, and then blow your account, right? Just pass really quick, take a payout, and then lose the account? Or are you really just trying to become a better trader and pass and then plan to be a trader for a very long time, maybe the rest of your life, maybe for the next 20 years? I don't know, but it's one step at a time, one base hit at a time, and so forth. And I'm sure you guys hear all of these stuff. Like, this isn't new. This is not new. You guys probably hear this all over the place from good traders and even bad traders, right? Even bad traders, have that common sense and understand. Well, they should anyway. Douglas PC, you're not here to learn how long it takes to pass a combine. Well, you're here to hopefully learn to become a better trader, but we have tons of traders, and everyone deserves equal enough in terms of getting their questions answered. And we're watching the markets. So far, I'm not seeing anything too crazy happening in these markets. Regardless, everybody, these are very, very, and these are important questions. And the thing is, here's the thing about questions, right? Not every question will mean something to every trader that joins the class. That's the reality of it. So let's move on. I'm going to keep getting to some of these questions. We're going to continue to watch these markets, but I'm not seeing anything too crazy move. We do see gold pushing up to the highs. We do see gold pushing 26.22, and we see the Nasdaq still just trying to hold these 40s, actually catching a bit. I want to take a look at. Should we take a look at the Nikkei? I'm sure the Nikkei. Yeah, that was one heck of a move here on the Nikkei. That's one where you just wish if only had a winner. But I should have taken that one in my live account. If we go back to that this other chart, there you go. That's simple, straightforward, where we had this nice move up. I was looking for this flagging pattern, right? And whether we were doing that or whether we're just looking at something like this, that was simple and straightforward, where there we go. That was it. What got you into trading, Dakota, and why? Segi, I'll answer that a little bit later. So I have a few more questions I'm going to get to, and then we'll talk about some of the trades that I know you guys want to talk, and I could break down the ones I took during fast markets, and then get to some more questions. So this Nikkei trade, it's over. I'm looking for the market to continue back up to 38.50s. Stay in this flagging pattern. Maybe we break out. Maybe we stay in this flagging pattern. I'm going to watch it tonight. I'm not looking for anything too crazy tonight because there's not a lot of news. Anything can happen, though. We'll put NASDAQ back up on the screen for everybody on a 5-minute chart. And over here on the left-hand side, here is the gold. We are seeing gold push back up to these 26.20s. There might be an opportunity here because remember, this is the resistance zone. And if we get a 3-bar reversal, then that could be a signal, at least for me anyway, to look for a short or a pullback. However, it's always a little nerve-wracking to short a market that is very, very strong for the past few days. So are we going to break through and out, or are we going to pull back and retrace? I'm not sure. I want the market to tell me what it wants to do. Watching the technicals, watching this 5-minute chart. So we'll keep an eye open on this. Nothing else is moving too crazy. Slippage is wild in the Nikkei tonight. 9 ticks, biggest ever seen it. I don't see 9 ticks in the Nikkei. I don't see a 9-tick spread on the Nikkei or slippage. I'm not seeing that. I do know that on the Nikkei, we could talk about it because let me pull that up. Take a look at this. So I want to make sure that this is clear. This can be why it can be important to watch and understand this. This is very important. Maybe it not, it doesn't matter, what market you're trading. You do need to understand this is slow markets. This is very low volatility. Nikkei is very slow, or it's very, very low volatility. No, that's not the word. What am I thinking of? There's not a lot of liquidity, low liquidity. There's very little liquidity when we're comparing this to something like the NASDAQ. So here's the level 2. You can see the bid and the asks, and the last fill price was 435. And sometimes the bid and ask could be, 4, 5, 6 ticks above the last traded price. And then vice versa, right? Where if the market's going down, you can see the bid and ask a few ticks below the last traded price. So the spread, the difference between the bid and the ask, is still pretty tight. It's usually 1 or 2 ticks, but you can see that's why there's gaps in this chart, and this chart is very ugly because of that. It's something good to understand. And we're going to compare this, if you want to compare it to something like the NASDAQ, right? So here's the NASDAQ, where you can see the bid and ask. It's a lot more liquid. There's not as much, it's similar in terms of like how many bids and how many asks sometimes, but you can see the bid and ask is very tight, and the last fill price does not get too far from where the bid and the ask is. And that's part of slow markets, right? Low liquidity, low volume, and it's slow markets. That's why, if you guys notice, I tend to stick to higher time frames when I am trading slow markets, because higher time frames, that's a lot less, it affects me a lot less. So here we are. We are seeing a bit of a reversal here on gold now. So I'm going to watch gold. We're going to see if the shorts play out and see if we do get a move lower because of that. So I'm going to watch gold. I'm going to keep the Nikkei over, or not the Nikkei, the NASDAQ over here on the right-hand side. And we can watch both markets while I continue to answer some questions. Okay, good question. How long did it take you to get your trading psychology right, and what did you do to get in there? So, or to get it there. So trading psychology, it's something that I'm still working on. It's something that we are all still working on, and we're all going to continue to keep working on that. Myself, every great trader, even traders, I can even name how many better traders there are than me. There's hundreds or thousands of traders that is much, much better than I am. That you guys don't see on social media. You guys don't see, posting everything on social media or on YouTube or anything. But every trader that I know who has found success and continues to find that success and is consistent, always works on the psychological side of their trading, works on their emotions, works on the psychological part of what we do here, because it's never over, right? It's not like a test. You take a test, you pass it, and then you never have to take that test again. It's a continuous thing that we will always need to be working on. TRT, I'd say about 4 years, 4, maybe 5. It depends on what you just define as profitable. I would say consistent, it was about 4 or 5. Trading psychology was going to say the same. We are still working on it all the time. It's just like anything in life, or especially your body, right? Because you're always working on making sure you don't, relax and just stay healthy. We're always going to be going to the gym to stay healthy. We're always working on what we eat, what we say, becoming a better person, all that. Getting to some of these questions. Wow, there's a lot of questions tonight. We have a lot of traders in the chat. Over 1,600. It's been a while. It's been a while since we've had so many traders in the chat. So now, since I have everybody here, I'm going to go over my trades from the New York session, from fast markets. But before I do that, I want to ask everybody for their honest feedback. How have you liked slow markets? And what is some stuff that you believe can improve it, that could, keep your attention span for longer? I know everybody has a shorter, attention span anymore, but curious. Looking for that feedback. How many times have I wanted to quit? Thousands. I've wanted to quit trading thousands of times. More technical analysis. Can you explain the 3-bar reversal? I could keep talking about 3-bar reversal. More trades. AB. I only take the trades that set up. I will never. I do not want to take trades for absolutely no reason. I was testing out some gold trades, but that seemed to be a lot more tedious for me. So I would love for there to be more trades, but there's only as many trades as the setups. You understand? Yeah, I wish there was. Lucas, take trades. I did take a trade. You missed it. I was long the Nikkei, and I bought the Nikkei down here, and I closed it out for profit. So that was already a trade, and that's what we're doing. We're talking about trades. I'm going to talk about my trades for fast markets, but after that, there is where I go through some slow market trades. Overnight setups. Yeah, Jeff, I think that's it. Overnight setups. Okay, I think that's what we're going to be leaning towards. Stats, common mistakes, setup, psychology, going through some of this, how to develop a process, discuss your trading background in detail, battle. When I go up, okay, let's go through. Okay, so I think that's what it's going to be. I'm going to do a poll, and I have an idea of what it's going to be, but I just want to confirm it with everybody here by way of a poll, because I really want to make sure I'm giving you guys what you want, so I'm not wasting my time, and then I'm not wasting your guys' time either. So let's go. What do you want? And I'm going to just do 4 of them. And maybe if there's a tie, I'll cover both a lot more. And I know when I have Coach Jay, it's really fun. It's really nice to have back and forth. Let's go overnight trade setups. And I do technical analysis every single night. I do a rapid fire. I look at every market, and I do my technical analysis. Now, remember, you can only do as much technical analysis as there is, right? Then there's that thing that is called paralysis by overanalysis. And I don't want that, right? It's very easy to get to that point of what's too much technical analysis and what is just enough, or am I not analyzing the markets? Maybe I'm not analyzing them enough. So maybe we could touch base on that, because there's a lot of traders that do have it. They have paralysis by overanalysis, and they find themselves overanalyzing markets, and they end up missing trades. So that is a big part of it as well. So overnight trade setups, stats review. I'm just going through some of you guys, some of the suggestions, so that way we could review this. So we'll just do trade review. Strategy talk. Okay, there's 4 poll. There's a poll. Pick, vote. I think it went through. There you go. Go ahead and vote. And what I am planning on doing is I want to get a schedule to where, just like on TopstepTV during the daytime, they have the schedule, they have the TV schedule. I'm going to be doing that for slow markets. I'm going to make sure I have a good schedule for slow markets. I'm going to set it up so, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are all different, so everyone can expect, maybe based off of what this poll is, overnight trade setups is going to be a big one. Strategy talk. For example, we could say overnight trade setups. We could talk about it every single night. Maybe strategy talk, every other night. Maybe trade and statistics review, every other night as well, just depending on, like, say, Mondays and Tuesdays or Mondays and Wednesdays or something like that. So I want to set it up so it's a very good schedule, so that everybody here will know what I'm going to be talking about each night, and they could tune in for the nights that they want. And then maybe, if instead of sitting here for a whole hour and a half hoping that I talk about strategy, or hoping that I do an overnight trade setup, that I don't waste your time. because just as much as I don't want my time to be wasted, I don't want anybody else's time to be wasted, sitting here through an hour and a half hoping that I talk about one thing that, of course, that I might not be able to get to, because there's, so many traders, it's impossible to get to everything that everybody wants to talk about, right? I could sit here and be in front of you 24 hours and still never be able to get to everything that people want to talk. Always good to go over a few trade reports. Yeah, Carlos, it's really about, I'm always, if you guys remember, I've started slow markets back in, I think it was April. Maybe it was, yeah, I think it was April is when I started slow markets, maybe the end of February. And I'm always finding a way to improve it. You'd love the trade review from Fast Markets. Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to do it here in just a moment. Actually, let's get ready and start that. I'm doing this poll because that's another one. And here's the thing. As I go through this, if I do see a trade setup, I am going to take it. Just like the Nikkei, right? We're going through. I was analyzing it. I came to it. I was doing the rapid fire. We seen the Nikkei. I seen the trade setup to the long side. I took it. And so if I am going through and doing any of these suggested things and going through a regular, say, show, right? Just like any other show you guys seen, just like TopstepTV, just like, I always have been looking at Jim Cramer's Mad Money, where and I think that's one of the things I liked about, and I do like about Jim Cramer's Mad Money, if you know what it is. You know exactly when he's going to be talking about what specific subjects, right? You know exactly how the show's structured. You know exactly what he's going to talk about and when he's going to talk about it. So I want to get a little bit of that, so that way it's going to be similar for consistency, but better because I'm actually going to be able to trade and talk about the live markets as it's happening in front of you. Anthony, yeah, sometimes you have to make sure you're caught up to speed. Anyway, let's keep going. Now I'm going to get a drink. I'm going to answer a couple more questions, and we'll review my trades I took during fast markets. I only had 2 trades during fast markets, so it's going to be a quick one. And then we could talk about overnight trade setups, because I do see a overnight trade setup that is showing up on the NASDAQ. Scott, can we do an hour and a half like you did a few times? Most nights, Scott, I am here. I do start at 7:30 p.m. Central, and I go all the way till 9. So from 7:30 till 9 p.m. Central Standard Time is what I do. And then, of course, Sunday, it's short because it's Sunday, and weekends, more time should be spent with family and like spiritual and every other aspect of your life. And then, like we were just saying, the psychological side. Slow market better. I can more detail before take a trade. Not sure what you mean by that. Hey. Okay. Anyway, let's get through it. I'm going to go through the analysis I did this morning before fast markets. So give me a second. And here's the exact analysis I did. What I like to do is look at these higher time frames. So this is what I was looking at. I like to look at one chart when I do my analysis. So we'll just say this is analysis. This is the NASDAQ, by the way. And you guys get to see it. You guys get to see my analysis each night of what I'm looking at, what I'm looking for. Last night, I walked through it. I talked through it. And I said basically where we were at. We sold off. Sunday open, we were kind of consolidating here, and I said I'm looking for today to be a bit of a consolidation day, and we were at basically the same as what I was looking at tonight. Then I would zoom into an hourly chart, and I was looking at this as an hourly chart, and of course we had a big rally. We had a big rally last night here in the NASDAQ. on the Sunday open. We were around these 600s, and I was looking at possibly having some support. And I was asking myself, are we going to sell off back down to where we opened on Sunday night? We did. We did sell off. We got all the way back down to where we opened Sunday night. And then, sure enough, I was looking at this zone. This is a decent zone where we opened up Sunday night. There's a lot of resistance there. Next thing I did is I go to a 5-minute chart. And as you can imagine, this is last night. Here's the analysis. You can see this resistance, right? There's a lot of support and resistance. Here's some more resistance. This resistance became support. On Sunday, we had this nice rally up Sunday night. And last night, we were all the way up here. And sure enough, we did end up retracing that entire move. We retraced all the way back to where we were at when we opened up Sunday night. And so the first thing I was looking at was, okay, here we are. And then as we were getting into, let me make sure I get this straight. There we go. So as we was getting into the open, so I'm going to walk you guys through, minute by minute, 5 minute by 5 minute, just kind of what my thought process was, what I was looking at. Now remember, this was the first area. You could see it, Sunday night open. And so as we was going through that, I'm just taking a look at the time. So right about here is where we opened. So we opened, and at the open, we started to sell off. Let me make sure okay. So we started to sell off. And I wanted to point one thing out because this was my first trade. I need to come in and, before I do this, I'm just going to go through the chart analysis first before I have to change it up again. There you go. So my first trade was here. I'm going to put a line. I'm going to mark that out so that way we could see it. Vertical line. That was basically my first trade. And I need to make sure I link this, right? So my first trade was right there. And then all I was looking for was that bounce. Remember, this is a zone. And the top of that zone was basically right there. It was, you could see this little price point at, I'll zoom in. Don't worry, I'll zoom in. It was right around 520s, the mid to lower 520s. You could see that this little wick right there, 522. Now remember, everything is a zone. So I do not look at exact numbers. So I was looking at this as a zone, not exact numbers. So as that was playing out, you can see I've made this is my trade. I'm going to go ahead and change the color. I want white. Okay, so that was my first trade, and then I have a 100 tick. So over on the right-hand side, I keep a smaller chart, whether it's a 1 minute. Some traders, I'm okay with saying that it could be a 1 minute, or I like to use a 100 tick chart. So that was my first trade. I'm going to go ahead and for everybody here, I'm going to show the executions. There you go. Let me make sure I have the 100 tick so you guys could see it. And then you guys feel free, watch the replay during fast markets on TopstepTV. TopstepTV, it's all recorded. That's the beautiful thing, right? That's beautiful. That is one of the best things about why it can be very important and why I feel like it's, if you're going to sit here and talk and help traders and do everything, and sit here and try and call out trades and anything like that, then just show it, right? That's the beautiful thing, because guess what? Everybody who's watching gets to see it. They get to try and understand it. It helps everybody out. And there's no sketchy stuff going on in the background to where I do a stream and I'm on TopstepTV live and I call a trade out, but then I don't take it. Does it really count? Or I call a trade out and I try and walk back what I said. I'm like, I was bearish and I flipped long, I flipped this. And then you'd find out after 6 hours later, I made all this money. That is why I absolutely love to be able to have this opportunity to show and to demonstrate this on Topstep TV, on here in YouTube during fast markets, during slow markets, and throughout this entire time. So anyway, that being said, I'm going to walk through exactly what I was looking at this morning. Okay, so here we go. This was yesterday. Don't mind any of that mess. So anyway, this was consolidation, looking for support and resistance, looking for support and resistance. This is a nice zone. You can see that's where the wick was, on Friday, where we had that nice little push in like 522. Okay, so these are zones. And so during fast markets, during the New York session open, you can see where, let's go through. We opened up right there. So this was the open, right there, right around 555, 554, but we sold off. You can see we're sold off, but then we started to consolidate. And you can see where I got in. Remember, this is a live account where whenever I place a trade, my order goes through and you could see it because it's a live account. It's real money. When I place an order, I actually physically own, not physically, but I own those contracts, right? They're mine. They're my account. They're in my account. So we sold off. I'll show you where I'm just going to mark it up. So let's just say that's the New York session open right there, right at 554. So we sold off, and then you can see over here on the right-hand side, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that this is synced. So there's the line, there's the open, and I'm going to show you this zone. So you can see how I would extend it. Yeah, I'm just going to extend it. It's a decent size zone. And so you can see where we came down there to this first area right at the top of that late push on Friday. Right there, right in the 522. So let's just say 522 was that late push. Now remember, everything's a zone. So we went and we got down there. Oh, where does that? Okay, so overnight we went down there, and then again we were down there, and as we were pushing down there on the 5-minute chart, I'm watching this 100 tick chart on the right-hand side, and so now I'll keep getting to your guys' questions, okay? So just give me a minute. I'm not the best at explaining it sometimes. So we sold off. Now remind you, this happens very fast. You can see all this happened in, 5-10 minutes. So it can happen very fast. And then, oh, wow, look at this real fast. There's 200 contracts. 200 contracts sitting there at 646. Where's Coach Jay? What are those 200 contracts doing? I want to. That's interesting. Did they just get filled? Did those 200 contracts get filled? That's as I was speaking. They're gone. They pulled it. It did. Okay. Yes or no? Did they get filled? I don't want to pull up the time in sales. There's 200 contracts sitting there. Wow. Okay. Someone's saying, yeah, they got filled. Coach Jay said they got filled. 200 contracts. 200 contracts got filled here in the NASDAQ. Interesting. What price did they get filled at? I'm sure we could see it on time of sales. Do I really want to go through there though and look at them? Let's take a look. Oh, nope. Come on. No, we're going to take a look at NQ. Maybe I'm too slow now. I'm too slow where I didn't. Oh, there they are. I seen them. Where'd they go? Oh, I swear they were right there. Now it's moving too fast. Yeah, there it is. There's that order. 151 filled at 646. Basically where we're at. You can see where it filters for size. So you filter that size. So it looks like, yeah, 151. There wasn't 200. Oh, maybe it was. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, that was a big order. I'm guessing red. So it says red orders indicate taken below the bid, bearish sentiment. So, okay. So it's interesting. But it was on the bid. And now I'm curious. Now I want to see if we rally off of this. I want to see if the Nasdaq's going to rally. Yeah. Do you see how we could change topics when markets move or when something happens? Let's see if we now rally. There's 100. There's 100 right at 650. 100 at 650 now. Now those are gone. That's gone. That wasn't filled. Yeah, there's 200 now at 639. This is not normal. Just so anybody who's new here, it is not normal for these big of contracts to be coming in at this time of night. Jim Cramer never gets off topic. Nah, that's why I'm going to be better, right? That's why this is better. Because we talk about the live, everything that's going on live. Yeah, this is not normal, especially for this time of night. Well, let's see what we react. If I was to guess, that to me is bullish. That to me is going to say we might rally and we might get a breakout, and that's going to actually get me. I want to get in. I want to get in. I want to join the action here. I'm going to wait. Let's see if I could get a better price. Let's see. There's 50 coming in at 651. 200 is still sitting at 39. You know what? I'm going to wait. I'm making a decision to wait. I want to see if this 639 gets filled. Rips. Yeah, that's all scripted. Fast money is all scripted. This is live. This is raw. You guys don't get to see any script. So it is what it is. Yeah, I might miss this move, but that order has me a little nervous. Yeah, look at this thing. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? I should have just got in. Yeah, there's another 60 contracts sitting at 54. So something's going on. I don't know. We will never we'll never know what these orders are for. We just have to understand that our only job is to react what is going on in the market, because I don't know if they're wanting to buy it. We don't know if they want to sell it. We don't know if it's a trader getting in a position, starting a new one, closing an old one, hedging. It's getting rid of a position they've been in for a month, opening a new position that they want to be in for a month. We just don't know. We could guess, but ultimately we could just see a big contract come in at 639 to buy it and, see how the market reacts. Like, that's all, at least I see it. I know Coach Jay and Rips, they're so much better than I am at reading order flow and at reading the DOM and this than I am. But it's always interesting because that's obviously, that makes a big impact, right? Could you believe if this 200 contract order just came in and just said market buy? Well, where's 200 contracts, right? 200 contracts, we could, if that trader or person or institute came in and said, buy 200 market, well, it's going to fill all of these orders. We're going to be pushed up into like maybe the 660s before it gets filled. And so we could go from, 650 to 660s just because one person, one institute comes in and hits market buy 200. So they impact the market. And of course, if you see something like that, maybe there's a strategy there. I'm sure there's traders in here as well who is perfectly fine on getting in with that trader. I know Coach Jay talks about this a little bit where, hey, I don't know what they're doing, but sure, I'll join them. And so you get in, and if they're able to, who knows, maybe they know something we don't. I don't know. Maybe it's bearish, maybe it's bullish. I don't trade it enough to feel confident to talk too much about a strategy regarding it. Maybe it's just a spoof, right? Maybe it's an iceberg where traders are just, someone is trying to get in or out of a position. Maybe they're trying to bring the market down. You can see there's a lot thicker orders at the ask, comparing that to the bid. I don't know. Coach Jay's in the chat though. Just like recognizing patterns with candlesticks. If you see orders enough, you'll also identify patterns. So there's something to that. And Coach Jay is amazing when it comes to seeing those orders. And then, of course, Rips, which is going to be on Topstep TV with me tomorrow morning. So maybe I'll ask him that. Okay, everybody, I'm making a note. Ask Rips tomorrow morning on air, what was his thoughts of this? I'm curious if he's seen it. What's his thoughts? But that is definitely something interesting. Anyway, let's keep an eye out. I do think that we have a decent chance to break out and rally, because this is looking bullish to me. This is looking like, we are starting to push this resistance. And if we break out, we break through resistance, then, maybe we come up and test these 60s. I could see a test of these 60s first if this holds. I mean, this is a zone. This is a decent sized zone because there's some resistance right there around 70s to 63. So that's a 7-point zone, I would say. And continue this bullish movement that we're seeing. So let's see. Let's watch. We can just watch, see, and enjoy it. Yeah, Rip's been in the chat. We need to get it to where me, Coach Jay, and Rips are all on at the same time. That would be fun. So okay, if you guys want to keep watching that for me, I'm going to continue what I was back on doing. So talking about my trades earlier as the NASDAQ breaks out. So referring, let's get back on schedule, get back on tape. What I was referring to, what I was talking about is my trades earlier today during the New York session, during the fast market session. This is a 5-minute chart. And as I was explaining, we sold off and we were touching the tip. We was touching the point of, oh man, I just can't watch what I say on here. Okay, rewind, cut. I'm struggling here, everybody. We were testing the resistance that we had on Friday during Power Hour. Okay, the close of Friday that we had on Power Hour. So as we were going down there and testing resistance, we were looking for that resistance to become support. Okay, over here on the 5-minute. So remember what that looks like on the 5 minutes, and we look at it over here on the 100 tick chart. Oh man, I'm gonna get a talking to tomorrow. That's yeah, it's charts after dark. Anyway, so let's move on. So here's that sell-off, and remember how I had the New York session open? So we had the New York session open right there at 555, and we had that sell-off, and we went down there, we tested it, right? Just like I was looking at the 5-minute chart. This happened really fast. So on the 5-minute, it looks like we just tested it once. But over here on the 100 tick chart, you could see we had a nice test. We rallied up. We tested again. We found more buyers. And I entered in right 33.70. So it looks like the average price was right there. So somewhere right there is where I got in because I was looking at this as making a higher low. So now this happened really fast, really fast. It's very hard to make a decision like this sometimes really quick. So, I was looking at this, okay, there's a breadcrumb. And as soon as we started a rally, I said, boom, get in. I was looking for this market to break out, break through this resistance. See this was support right here around these 34s, support. We broke through. It became resistance once, twice, 3, 4. And I'm like, okay, and then as soon as we held it again, knowing that this was resistance, that could be a level that we reverse. And so I was like, okay, well, let's break through it. So we went through, we broke, and immediately rejected, went back down into it. I had my stop loss. My stop loss was, somewhere, I think it was like right there. You'll just have to, it was a little bit lower. I think it was that, maybe, 516. I did see there was some pivots. I don't know whether it was down here or up there. Watch fast markets, watch the recording. But anyway, the point is I entered there. I had my stop loss below, and I got what I wanted. And you can see I closed out of one contract. I closed out of one for a nice 20 plus points, 22 points. And I should have closed out of more. This was a mistake on my end. This was definitely a mistake on my end. I should have just closed out of like 3 of them up here in the 70s. I was really looking for this market to return up to overnight highs. These were the overnight highs I was watching, or at least the first pivot point. The main overnight highs was up here in these 640s. But this was the first pivot point I was looking for the market to return and at least test these 580s. And so I didn't. I only closed out of one, which is unfortunate because we came back down. And as soon as you guys can see over here on the 100 tick chart, I just cut the loss. I mean, it wasn't much of a loss because I closed it out at 525. It was minus 8 points. So it was minus 8 points, take away the profit from this one trade. So that was my first mistake. I think I was up like $2,500 on this trade, $2,000, $2,500, something like that. Probably, no, I was actually up more, right? I was up almost $4,000, over $3,000 on this trade. But I was looking for more, which is part of the plan. That was part of my process, was close out one. I should have closed out 2. I was a little bit too greedy because this market was moving fast and it looked like it could have easily got to these 80s. It didn't. We turned right back around. And so it's okay. That's all right. That's fine. And, sure enough, it set up again. So it set up again. Same exact trade. So same trade, same idea, same concept. We came down. This time when we did over here on the 5-minute charts. All right, so on the 5-minute chart, this candlestick, this one, not this very bottom one, this one, we got all the way down to like 513. Now we're starting to test the high, like now we're even starting to test this resistance, right? So before it was just testing the top, and now we're testing more of this resistance. And sure enough, I entered this trade again. So we went down, we tested, and you can see over here on the 100 tick chart where we kept buying, we bought it up. And then finally, when we got it up again, I finally got into this, looking for a continuation test. Sure enough, my stop loss, I think it was, I had it lower. My stop loss was at like 497. Yeah, it was around 497, I believe. So 497, and we came down. We broke through, and this is a good example of a stop hunt where we make a nice support. Everyone who bought right here who has their stop losses too tight. So if this was their stop loss, okay, so if this is the stop loss, let me change a brighter color. Then you can imagine everyone who has their stop loss too tight got closed out on that run, on that push down to like 506. Sure enough, not once, but you can imagine we were running and we were trying to, and every single time we tried to push lower, and I this is one where I do say I very well probably should have added. I like to add to my position, but yeah, you can see as soon as we tried to break lower, so we went from 506 down to like 505 and a quarter, immediately we jumped up almost 10 points. Now this happened in a split second. That's why I like watching a 100 tick chart, because this was just one order, just split second. Instead of breaking a new low, nope, we didn't. We rejected and immediately bought up. So I don't want to get too advanced for everybody in here, but sometimes, I don't know exactly this is me making an assumption, is if there's an iceberg or if there's someone who has a big position that they just want to get in, then this is kind of what I see them do sometimes, or sometimes what I see the market do is it holds up. And obviously the opposite, where we just barely run, and we barely break, and then immediately a big bounce, right? Like a big order just comes in through big, like we were looking at on the NASDAQ, which I don't see that order anymore, like 200 contracts, right? That was a big position. And sure enough, we did it again. We touched 504. We just barely ticked to a new low, as you guys could see right there, and immediately bounced another 10 points. And we didn't do it the third time. We did it again for the fourth time, and it was the same thing, right? We pushed even lower, tried it again. And this is where I should have added. I really wish I would have added right here. Obviously, with hindsight, it's a lot easier to add and look back and say I would have, I should have, I could have, because I would have found maybe a few areas that I should have added to this trade and say, wow, look at, there's a few opportunities I could have added to this trade as well. So this was my stop loss. And sure enough, after that, we did it for a little bit longer and off to the races, as you guys could imagine. And there was another opportunity on a 3-bar reversal. Everybody in the chat who's asking what a 3-bar reversal is. Well, this was a 3-bar reversal on a 5-minute chart. So 5-minute chart over here, 3-bar reversal. We have the move down. We have the reversal candlestick. And the confirmation is when we close above or cross above that previous candlestick's high. So right there at 527, as you can see, we did make that when we broke through that high. There was that little pivot high. And so 527, looking at that. So there's plenty of opportunities for me to add. I was just a little bit hesitant after what happened to earlier. And, sure enough, I closed out finally one contract, you could see, where we rallied straight up to where we opened at. I closed one contract, just like I did this other trade, one contract at 555. And throughout that, you could probably watch the recording. I would trail my stop. I tried to trail my stop below each one of these pivots. So we pivot, trailing my stop. We rally up. This was one heck of a rally, everyone. This was a big rally, as you could see it over here on the 5-minute chart. And then I closed out another one, and I like to close out on the move up instead of a reversal. I like to close it out at the ask, selling, join ask, and got another one. And sure enough, I did get one more right here at the point of this. We sold right back off. And sure enough, we were starting to make higher lows. And I was still trailing this. Of course, there was an example to say, I could have just kept trailing this and could have made so much money. But then I closed my final one out at 100 points. Even though I had a feeling we could get up to 640s and test the overnight highs. That's fine. I'm happy with 100 points. I'm happy with the way that this trade played out. It worked out really well. This is what I was, and look, it just kept on going, right? So this is what I was looking at for my very first trade when I am watching and I'm analyzing the markets. And this is why I was saying it was exactly the same. Like, look how similar these two trades were, right? Very, very similar. I got into my position size. I closed out one contract around 555, and then instead of rejecting, this one actually did break out, and I had that nice trade. So, unfortunately, the first one was a loss, but then it gave me that second swing at the plate, and it worked out pretty well. So that's it. That was my 2 trades today, and sometimes that's all it takes. Quality over quantity. So that being said, looks like everyone's talking about gold here. Give me a second and we can pull up gold. I'm going to switch back to one chart. Same thing you guys see every night, right? It's the same process, the same thoughts. Yeah, gold's not rejecting there. So it's I mean, anyone who was looking to short there, we just kind of blew through that. And so next level I see on gold could be this next zone right here in the 30s, 32s, plus or minus $1. So anyway, that was my trades for today. And I think, did you guys enjoy that? Was that helpful to anybody? Do you want to see more of that? I don't mind doing that. Even on my losses, I think it would be just as much, if not maybe more beneficial, to review some of the losses like that. Yeah, is that what you guys came here for? You guys happy? Is everybody happy now? They get to see the good stuff. You want to know something? Well, you want something funny too? It is everyone in here would be, well, maybe not everybody. Most of you would be surprised on how much money I've been offered to explain that. Just to explain that stuff, right? That is stuff that you would pay a lot of money for, to be honest. It is to go in depth, for me to take the time and go in depth like that. And I don't mind, because here's the thing. I could show it to everybody, but I can almost guarantee you maybe one or two of the traders here in this chat would be able to duplicate that. Very rarely, because showing you how to do it is one thing, but then actually doing it and then doing it consistently is a different thing. And then making it your own, right? Because there's little nuances in terms of the way the market acts, and to ultimately what it boils down to managing the risk spot, the risk side, like how do you manage risk is what is the difference. Because pay me a few $1,000s, I can explain that in detail, but you paying somebody money to teach you how to trade, it is not going to help with the psychological side. It's not going to help with the psychological side, and it's not going to help you understand when something does happen in the markets that maybe you have never seen before, or you haven't experienced it. For example, this could have easily been a loser, and this could have went down and stopped me out, right? Just like this one. If this was a loser, it stopped me out, and then it did it again, and we consolidated. Who would ever do that 3 times in a row? That's hard. That really is hard to do. If instead of going up and being a winner, if it just turned around and it sold off and then it did it again, most of you will not set that same trade. I almost guarantee it. Like, you lost money again, and then maybe it did it again, right? Maybe we had another fake out and it does it again. Then, I guarantee it's gonna take that 4th trade. And then how are you managing the risk, right? Because that's the most important part. To heck with how you run a trailing stop. Anybody could trail a market and watch the profit and watch the trade go in their favor. But how is it when you have the market going against you? Are you able to close it out on time? Right? Just like this one, where, are you able to close it? I don't know. Are you able to close it a second time? Or are you going to hold it and let it just hit your daily loss limit? Or are you going to be able to do it the 4th time? And the more often it happens, the more it wears on you mentally, and the more unlikely you are to do it again. That was another good setup here on the NASDAQ. And so whoever got those contracts filled, whoever bought that big order that came in and bought down here before we broke out, maybe they're probably, so far so good, they're happy. But yeah, I'm expecting. Now remember, my expectations is completely different. There's the Topstep risk disclosure once again in the YouTube chat. Topstep risk disclosure. Tomorrow's Tuesday. I'm gonna be on with Rips bright and early tomorrow morning. I'm excited. Don't forget D during the London session, and Coach Jay. You've seen Coach Jay in here tonight. He is going to be doing the at the buzzer. If you have questions, he's the man. Rips and Coach Jay, they're amazing at what I don't even know how to do yet, to be honest. Rips, you could see him when he goes on live, and Rips is like shows his executions, right? And you guys get to see that as well. And the way he reads the market is like second to none, which I'm still learning. I'm an absolute rookie and you know, brand new when it comes to reading the markets like that. I can't do it, but I think it just continues to show how many traders and how many different trading styles there are in order to make money in this market. So anyway, that being said, look forward to everybody bright and early tomorrow morning. Yeah, I think that's all I have for you. It's just 3 minutes left. Not too many questions after that. Go through some of this. Yeah. Yep. I think that's where I'm going to leave it out. Bright and early tomorrow morning. Went through all that. Remember, that Topstep Labs was great. I have that follow-up this week on Wednesday. It's an hour long. And then the VIP. That VIP is going to be fun. It really is, everybody. So if you want to join that VIP that I've dedicated my time to, tune in to the day show. Tune in to TopstepTV. Tune into Slow Markets. And it should be coming out in January. So much more cool stuff to come. We're just getting started. I mean, how far we've came already. So all that, and I think that's it. That's where I'm going to end it. Take care, everybody, and see you tomorrow.